Mike Bohn joined now by UFC Hall of Famer Mark Coleman. Mark, thank you so much for doing this. I believe this is your first interview since everything happened last month. Can you just tell me, first of all, how are you feeling physically right now?
I feel fantastic, healthy. My lungs are probably 90%, just still a little bit sore, but they're doing great. My eyes were burnt pretty good. I couldn't open them for about 5 days. They're about 90% as well, and my hip's doing awesome. I've had 4 surgeries in the last 5 months, but it's probably at about 80% now. So I feel amazing, man. Just blessed, happy, grateful.
Yeah, and I don't want to make you, relive too much of everything you went through because I'm sure it was very traumatizing and stuff. But when you start to, I'm sure as time goes on, you get more clarity, more things like that. When you put yourself back to that night of the fire and saving your parents and everything, I mean, what are like the foremost thoughts that come into your mind?
Just very happy that I was there. First of all, it was just a blessing because I hadn't been up to see my parents in a while. So I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And, my dog did wake me up, Little Hammer. I think he jumped underneath the bed and I heard a noise and I woke up at about 4 a.m. and it was really hot. I didn't realize it was hot a lot of times, and I have dreams. So I thought I woke up from a bad nightmare and I was really hot, but I didn't realize it was hot. Something just didn't feel right. I felt really evil in the house, and then it was pitch black in my room, and I always have a nightlight on, but I didn't have it on this night for some reason. And my door was shut, which I never shut my door. So, and I was kind of confused about where I was at because I was at my parents' house, and but I found a way to the door. I got to the hallway. I started heading out to the living room and kitchen, and I looked out there and I didn't put fire together because I didn't see any flames yet, but I seen like clouds, and I still was kind of like half out of it, so I didn't picture fire. I just seen clouds, and I felt evilness. But then as I'm walking towards the kitchen, I grabbed the back door, and it was on fire. It was so hot it burnt my hand pretty good, 3rd-degree burns on my hand. And right then I realized it's a fire. And then I heard glass windows breaking from up above. And that's when I put it together and I had to react quick. I knew this fire was everywhere inside the house. And I ran back and I tried to wake my mom and dad up. I yelled 5 times real loud, "Mom and Dad." They didn't answer. And I got the sickest feeling ever. I thought they were dead or whatever. And finally, my mom answered. She said, "What?" And she thought I was doing a 5 a.m. video for my Instagram, yelling "Hammer House for Life" and all that crazy shit. So that's why she didn't answer me. But I told him to get the heck up. We got to hurry. The house is on fire. And they both got up. They didn't have no clothes on and underwear and stuff, but they came around and they met me at the doorway, and I grabbed my dad's hand and I'm walking him down the hallway trying to get to the garage door. And when I got to the garage door, I turned around. I thought he had a hold of my mom's hand, and I thought I had them both, but he didn't. And so I sent him out in the garage, and then I started getting really nervous because looked down the hallway, and there my mom was at the back of the hallway in her bedroom standing there. I could still barely see her. The smoke was really bad now. And I asked her what she's doing. She's like, I can't breathe. She's got asthma real bad. So I went down, I grabbed her, and now it's a complete blind walk. I got to walk, another 15 yards back to the garage again. But this time I had my mom, and I'm using the wall to guide me to the other end. But then I kind of fell off into the bathroom. The door was open. And then for the first time, I panicked real bad. I didn't panic. I said to myself, because it was so bad at that point, I was lost for a second. I thought to myself, we're not going to make it. I thought for a second I'm not going to make it. But it somehow, God guided me. I got back on the right path. I made it to the door again. I let my mom out the back door this time because it was closest. And now I'm pushing my luck. But I ran back to my bedroom now to get my dog, Little Hammer. And I jumped down on the floor to swipe underneath the bed. I couldn't feel him. I jumped to the end of the bed. I swiped again. I couldn't feel him. And since I was down on my knees, the smoke wasn't as bad down there. I got a false sense of security for a second. But then I sat up and I took in a bunch more smoke. And I realized it's time to get out. And I stood up and I had about 15 yards to go to make it. And somehow I was guided. And I made it out the garage door. I made it outside, reunited with my dad. I'm coughing pretty hard. I think I'm fine. I'm thinking I'm okay. I went and got my mom, and we turned around, and at this point, the whole house was on fire. It was going down, the whole thing. We live out in the country, so there were no fire hydrants or anything, but the ambulance finally came, and they put me in the ambulance. I told them I'm fine. I'm fine. I just wanted to go see my parents. And, well, pretty much I wasn't fine. I took in a lot of smoke. I was probably in the house for, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes. I really don't know for sure, but I took in a lot of smoke, and they life flighted me to the next town over because I live in a small town, Fremont, Ohio. And, well, they thought I was going to be fine the way I was talking. But then when they got down into my lungs, they'd never seen so much black on somebody's lungs ever. And it was pretty bad. But fortunately, I was blessed. They were able to spray it off with this little thing that they do. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But they were able to spray a lot of the black stuff off my lungs, which probably saved my life, or at least it saved me from being in the hospital for a long time. And then that's it, man. I was out on whatever. I couldn't breathe on my own anymore. So it was just a matter of time before it clogged up. If they weren't able to get down in there and clean it out, I don't know. But so I was out for a couple of days. My daughters were bedside with me the whole time. And I remember being out, and, they were talking to me as I'm out, but I'm half awake. And I'll never forget that. They had a song playing for me, Fear is a Liar. It's one of my favorite songs. It's a Christian song. And I remember like holding back. I didn't want them to see me cry. So I'm holding back the tears. And then finally one tear snuck out, and I can remember it, just one tear got out. And, they asked me if I remembered anything, and I told them about that. And then I woke up, and I had every emotion going that you can imagine. First one was very, very happy. very grateful, very thankful, blessed. My parents were alive. I was so sad about my dog, but I have to accept it. He was there for a reason. He's a hero. I mean, he woke me, and he's in a happier place. He was my best friend, my first dog ever. I was with him for 10 months. He was with me every day for these marathon training sessions that I do. Sometimes 12 hours, at least 12 hours a day, sometimes 16. Sometimes one day I did 19 hours. Hammer was with me the whole time, just giving me energy. And, well, I got a little off subject, and I missed him, but just so happy to see my 2 kids there. I got 3 beautiful daughters. I'm so blessed. I've had one of the greatest lives ever. I don't look at any of this. I've had 4 hip surgeries in the last 5 months, but I don't look at any of it as being down. Was it rough? Yes, but I loved every second of it. It was so painful and hard, but if something's not hard and challenging, then it ain't worth getting through. And right now, I got through all that. My body's never felt this good. I'm healthier than I've ever been in years. I'm 3 years sober, and like I said, I just feel like one of the most blessed men in the world. I'm happy. I'm grateful.
Yeah, man. Wow. I mean, so much to unpack there. You're obviously a hero for what you did there. Condolences for, the passing of the dog, and just for you to share that much detail. I really appreciate that. I understand if you can't maybe answer this one, do they know what caused the fire yet? Or is that something you can't share at this point?
They never were able to pinpoint it. Oh. And electrical or possibly this, but they never really figured out what it was. So it's a mystery, but it just happened.
Yeah, crazy. And obviously you described part of the hospital experience there. You got released, and then I think you had to go back a couple of days later for the pneumonia, right? Or what happened there?
I was in there for 5 days, and they wanted to keep me longer, but I talked my way out of there, and I got out, got released. My daughters was driving me back to Columbus from Toledo, Ohio, back to Hilliard, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. And on the way there, I'd been feeling numbness and tingling in my arm for the whole time, but I didn't bring it up to anybody. And then on the way home, it just traumatized me. I'm not going to lie. This traumatized me, and I was, when I did wake up, I was a changed man quite a bit. I was a little bit of fear. I didn't want to die anymore, for sure. I didn't want to survive that and then die. So normally I wouldn't go to the hospital over a little numbness in the arm, but I did have a heart attack 5 years ago. And so I told my daughters, and they immediately told me we're going back to the hospital. I went to the hospital in Columbus. They checked out my heart. Everything's going great there. Everything's fine. The numbness, I don't know what it really ended up being. It's gone now, but they did find out I had pneumonia from all this. So it was good to hear that I had pneumonia, because I was really feeling kind of weak and sick, and I thought it was from all the fire, but then to find out it wasn't from the fire so much. Right. The pneumonia was keeping me down. So I've been on antibiotics for like 6 months now, man. I can't wait to get off these. And I'm so grateful, because I feel so close to being back to like a man again, a strong, healthy, dangerous man. And I'm just so excited.
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, obviously the video of you and your daughters in the hospital is very emotional, especially for us in MMA who remember, the photos of you guys out in Pride after the Fedor fight and like everything, right? It's just amazing to see how much they've grown up. It's pretty remarkable. At what point after, you'd kind of regain consciousness, did you get informed about the support that you'd been getting from just the community and combat sports as a whole, the GoFundMe, just all the messages, everything? When did you kind of get exposed to all that?
Well, I had a lot of questions when I woke up. So I wanted to know, Yeah, I had no idea that anybody even heard about it yet. When I woke up, I assumed it was just, you know, my family. But then all of a sudden, yeah, my daughters were telling me everything that's going on and how it's spread across the the MMA community and more than just the MMA community, but and more than just America. They was telling me how it's, you know, going across the world and people just very concerned and very caring about Mark Coleman and it just blew my mind because I knew I had a lot of fans and I've always been appreciative and grateful for my fans and I would do anything for them if I could, but I just had no clue how many I had and I'm overwhelmed with appreciativeness and gratefulness. I can't believe I love them so much, and I wish I could give every one of them a hug. I really do. So they made this so much easier, and they just made me feel good. And what else can I say? They made me feel great.
Yeah, I mean, it's all deserved. Obviously, you're a legend of the sport, and to see the act you made obviously warrants every single thing and more that you got. So I hope that continues to come your way. But curious, you know, a few weeks go by or days, and I do an interview with Max Holloway. And I'm asking him, you know, it's been a tradition of this BMF title. It's only been 2 fights, but The Rock put the title around, you know, the first winner, and Jorge Masvidal, who won the first belt, put him around the winner. And I didn't know what Max was going to say. And he brought you up. He's like, hey, the real BMF, Mark Coleman, should wrap the belt around the winner at UFC 300. And then I think a day later, the next morning, you post that the UFC had reached out to you about coming out for this card on Saturday with your family. Did that call come before you saw the interview with Max Holloway, or do you think that was partially a product of it?
No, they were gonna. They planned on bringing me and my daughters in, which I mean that was Dana White stepped right up and but then a couple of days later, I seen Max Holloway, who I'm a super fan of this sport, and I got respect for all these guys, but I've rode on the bus a couple times with Max and his little boy, and I just love that guy. He is this BMF belt. It's gaining a lot of steam with this fight right here because you talk about two bad mother freakers, Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway. They epitomize BMFs, and when I seen him do that, that just made me, you know, brought a tear to my eye. Just grateful, man. I can't believe, you know, I just can't believe, you know. So, and then Gaethje came out and said the same thing, but I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think they're going to ask me to do it, which I don't expect them to, but they are bringing me in. They are treating me very well, and I love the UFC. I am a company man. It's the greatest sport in the world. And I really didn't know this back in UFC 10 when I walked out of the cage after beating Fry in UFC 10. You know, my mind was like going crazy, but, you know, there was a couple thousand people there or whatever, but I really seen packed stadiums and this becoming just where it's at right now. And there is no end in sight. It's only going to get bigger and better because this is taking over the NFL someday. This is what people love, fighting. Fighting's old school.
Yeah, it's incredible how far the sport has come. I mean, we could talk for hours about the differences between when you competed and now, but yeah, Gaethje told me he agrees. Why do you think they wouldn't do it, though? You're going to be there. It's tradition to have someone special do it. Why do you think they wouldn't do it?
Oh, I have no idea. They probably already have plans, and you can't be messing up plans. So, I mean, it'd be it'd be like just unbelievable. I mean, I can't imagine, but Hey, just being there with some nice cage side seats with my daughter, I'm stoked. If I end up putting the belt on or whatever else, that's just icing on the cake. I'm just happy to be there because this is the biggest, baddest, greatest card ever put together. And I'm excited about the very first prelim. Cody Garbrandt and what was he fighting?
Davis and Figueiredo.
Davis, two ex champions, man. It's just it's unbelievable. Then I'm really excited about the BMF belt. I'm excited about a lot of them, but I just love Potan and Jamal Hill. A lot of people slacking on him, but that dude is bad. That's gonna be savage. The whole card is unbelievable and probably the most fights I've ever watched because I don't really have a lot of patience. I'm working on my patience, but I like to move around. So hopefully I'm gonna get a little education in some real bad fighting that night.
Yeah, I mean, I just came from the media day. It was the first time they ever brought the entire card, all 26 fighters, to media day. They're going to have all 26 fighters at the press conference tomorrow. We're recording this Wednesday night. I intend to ask Dana White at the press conference about you wrapping the belt. I have no idea why they wouldn't want you to do this. It's an amazing idea. So I hope it happens, Mark. You're going to be there and everything.
Thank you. But that's awesome. Everybody was there. I mean, I fought in UFC 100. They brought me in for 200. I'm so grateful just to be coming to 300. It's going to be an epic evening, and hopefully I get to meet a lot of people that my fans. I hope I get to see a lot of my fans.
I think fans, fighters, everyone who crosses your path, Mark, is just going to want to take a moment to shake your hand or even get a second with you because I think they have that much respect for you.
That's all right with me, and they'll have to kick me out of the arena like they did when me and Random were over in Pride after the show's over. The Marines were the security guys, but these Japanese fans, we would be walking out, but it would take us literally a couple hours, and these Marines would say, "Come on, man, we want to get home, but you can't let the fans down." So, hopefully. They got the security's going to be on Mark Coleman this weekend, throwing me out.
I think they should let you sleep in the arena if you want to, Mark, but whatever you feel like. Last thing I just wanted to ask you, this card's obviously crazy. We could talk about it for a while, but just going back to you personally, you went into the gym like a few days after all this happened. I think Matt Brown posted a little video. What was the reaction from everyone there when you walked into the gym that day and they saw you?
Just love, lots of love. I walked in, they gave me the salute. Matt Brown said, "All rise" to everybody. That's kind of my little thing I do when I walk into a gym. I usually say "all rise," joking around. But Matt Brown said it or something like that, and then everybody looked over and just started clapping. And I've been doing a lot of crying, a lot of tears of joy. Good tears, man. Life is what you make it. I've been making my life great for 3 years, and every day just seems to get better. I'm sober, and I really do feel like I can do anything sober. I reestablished my goals, and I'm getting them. I don't know why. I always said I was training. Everybody said, "What are you training to hold so hard?" Like, it makes me feel good. I love to be super sore. I love to earn my food, and I love to fast and be starving. And I think about food all the time, but what am I training for? Well, I said celebrity boxing, which I really was going to do, and I probably still will do. I'm probably going to knock somebody out. Why the heck not? I still hit very, very hard. But what am I training for? I said that just to give me a little bit of motivation to go hard, but really what I was training for was life. I'm just training for life, and I knew I was training for something big. And if I wouldn't have been, wrestling prepared me. Amateur wrestling and wrestling prepared me for this, and MMA. What I did in those two sports prepared me for what happened that night. Because if I wouldn't have been in shape, there's not even a question. Maybe I get out, but I don't get nobody else out. I just don't. So I probably wouldn't have got out. It's easier said than done, but I probably wouldn't have got out because there's no way I could have left my parents in that house and turned around and watched it burn down. So just training, health is wealth. Exercise is health. Health is my wealth. So I'm right back on it. They let me out and I was back in that gym on Monday. You know what I mean? Because I was hurting pretty good still, but low impact, man. I'm all about active recovery. You know, too many people just lay around. I don't believe in that at all. Laying around. You don't use it, you lose it. It's that simple. So I got a 12-hour in today, man. I'm sore as hell right now. I've been fasting for about 40 hours because I got to fit into my clothes for this weekend.
That's fine. Well, yeah, I mean, thank you so much for sharing all that. I guess just last thing before I let you go, Mark, is there anything we didn't touch on from this that you, I guess, wanted to maybe share with the people, or anyone you want to thank, or anything that we haven't touched on when it comes to this? Because obviously this is your first time speaking about this at length. It means so much to me that you did this, but anything we didn't cover that you'd like to get off your chest?
I covered the fans. I covered my family, the love I have for them, but total new respect for firefighters. I was a pyromaniac as a kid. I love fire, but it was incredibly scary. And Stipe Miocic has the greatest job in the world. He's an MMA fighter and a firefighter. That would be amazing to me. If I could come back and do life over again, I would do both. But the respect I have for the firefighters, and then the care I got at the hospital, I was not always kind, you know, so I was a little bit feisty. My daughter's a nurse, so I felt a little bit bad, but I think I did pretty good. The doctors and the helicopter, the ambulance, the police officers, man, just everybody, they were all concerned, and it melts my heart.
Love that. Yeah, thank you so much for doing this, Mark. It really means a lot to me. I don't have enough superlatives to say positive about you. I mean, I think we're all so happy that this came out in almost the best way possible. So thank you so much for sharing this and opening up. I will see you here this weekend for UFC 300. I expect to see you in that octagon, wrapping that belt around either Justin Gaethje or Max Holloway. It would be a disservice to everyone if it doesn't happen. So thank you so much, Mark. I'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you. You're doing a great job, by the way. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Right. I appreciate that.
Have a good night. Man.